Today, the big question that people have been asking me lately and that I want to address today as a way to get this Q&A live call started is, can I take the CMA exam online? This question naturally has come up because the testing centers around the world have closed. So people are thinking that there could be an alternative to that, which is taking the exam from home online. That's a great question. And unfortunately, that is not an option right now. Exams are still on hold. And when the testing centers open up, you will be able to go to a Prometric center and take your exam on site. The online option is not available at this time, but I wanted to start with that question just to make sure that everyone understood that. And because this is a great opportunity to hang out with you guys and go over that, I wanted to make sure that that you guys were aware. All right, so let's check it out here. Let me go to. Well, we're getting a lot of questions already from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hey guys, I'm so happy that all of you are here. This is awesome. Okay, so let's start from the top. I hope that you guys have coffee or tea or something. I'm gonna have a little coffee right now. Hanging out with you guys is great. Okay, so let's check it out. Let's start with the first question that I see on Instagram. All right, so the first question is, what is CPE? Great question. CPE are credits or units that CMAs who are already certified need to complete every single year. You need to complete 30 CPEs every year to keep your certification active. You can take all kinds of courses, and a lot of them are free. As an IMA member, you get access to a library of CPE courses that the IMA provides, and you can take from any topic. They range in topics. So you can look and see what interests you and just take the course, and whatever time you spent that will count towards your CPE units. Okay, so that's what CPE is. As a CMA candidate, you do not have to worry about it. So if you haven't become licensed or certified yet, don't worry about it. But if you are already a CMA, then CPE units is something that you need to do to keep your license or your certification active. Okay. Great question, and that question came in from Thazir. So thank you, Thazir, for that question. I appreciate it. All right, so let's keep going. Yeah. Let's see. Woo, hello, Woo. Thanks for joining. Hey, Ziad. She says my part 1 exam is coming soon. Yes. The Prometric centers have not opened yet. I know that. We're keeping an eye on it. They haven't opened. I know that they are opening for the CPA exam, is my understanding, starting this month, May. Not for the CMA. So we're keeping an eye on that. And hopefully as soon as they do, I'll notify everybody, okay? If you are not on my list yet, that's fine. You can join that list by grabbing a copy of my free CMA exam cheat sheet. It's totally free, and that will get you into my email system. And then whenever testing centers open up again, I'm gonna definitely email you and let you know. So if you're not there yet, please get your cheat sheet, and then I'll keep you posted. To get that, all you have to do is click on the link above or below this video in whichever platform you are joining from after the call, and that will direct you to that cheat sheet, okay? All right, so let's see. What else do we have here today? Diva is asking a great question. Let's see here. Diva is asking, how can I practice essay questions? Should I practice them on Microsoft Word? Okay, so this is a good question actually. So thank you for your question, Diva. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna remove that from the screen. All right, so essay questions, I think if you don't have an online test bank, then Microsoft Word is totally fine. As long as you're practicing essays on a computer, that will definitely help. The one thing that I discourage people to do is to print out essay questions and practice them like with, well, handwriting, like writing on a piece of paper. I do not recommend that. I mean, you could do that at first if you want, but don't get used to that, because in the actual exam is computerized. You want to get used to solving essay questions on a computer. So if you do not have an online test bank, and online test banks already have essay questions in them, but if you don't have one, but you have a couple questions on a Microsoft Word document, that's totally fine. As long as you're doing it from a computer, that works, guys. That works. So Diva, thank you for your question. That was awesome. What up, Nick? How's it going, man? Good to see you again. Let's see, Ziad. What is the agenda for today? Well, great question, Zaid. Here, let me show you here. So Ziad, sorry about that. So Ziad is asking, what is the agenda for today? So during this live Q&A sessions, I like to start by answering a question that I've been getting a lot. I communicate with thousands of CMA candidates every week via email, via social media. I get a lot of questions, and I'm so happy to do that and help out and guide. So during this live Q&A sessions, I take the question that I get asked the most and address that first. And then I open the floor for any questions, because I know that there are so many questions out there, and this is an opportunity to kind of have a Q&A with me, and an opportunity for me to get to you and guide you through whatever questions you have. So that's the idea behind these live Q&As. So bring on your questions. The question for today was, can I take the CMA exam online? So for those of you who are just joining, that was the first question that's the question that I've been getting a lot. So I wanted to address that today. Can I take the CMA exam online? And the answer is no. The answer is no. That would be a good alternative, based on the current situation in the world, but that's not possible, has not become available. Testing will still be done on site at Prometric centers. They are still closed. And like I said, I will notify you guys as soon as they open, or as soon as they announce when they'll open. And that way you can plan your exam accordingly. Now, if you were not here last week, I do want to reiterate that the May-June exam window obviously starts today. Today's May 1st. Started today and goes all the way to the end of July, so July 31st. Okay, so it's a 3-month exam window, and I'm being told by multiple people, including my students, that exam seats are already getting full. So I think there are no more exam seats until August, which is the start of the last exam window of the year. This year, the IMA extended the September-October exam window by 1 month. So it starts now on August 1st and goes all the way through October 31st. So if you were planning to take your exam during the May-July window, I would definitely look into it as soon as you can, because like I said, seats are being filled really fast. And I think that's probably because a lot of people cannot take the exam. Maybe it might not happen in May. It may not happen in June, so everybody's pushing their exam to July, and that's why I think all the seats are getting full. So if you were planning to take it then, please look into it right away. Pay for your CMA entrance fee to the IMA, and pay for your exam registration. Once you do that, you will get an authorization number from the IMA that you can take to the Prometric Center's website to book your exam. Now, if July is fully booked, then go ahead and look for August. August is getting full fast as well. So if you're planning to take your exam, I would suggest to get a move on that, man. It's getting full really fast. Okay, so that's what I wanted to point out. Wu is saying that she's stuck in China and does not have internet access to take the CMA exam online. Wu, like I said, the CMA exam will not be provided online. It's going to always be for now, it's going to be on site. So don't worry about it. Just continue studying for the exam. And when Prometric centers open up in China, then you'll be able to go and take your exam on site. So don't stress about it. Don't worry. It's not possible to take the exam online at this time. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. But if you have any others, just follow up in the comment section. Here's another question. Do you have any idea about IMA's blockchain one-on-one course? What are the benefits and how this course will help management accountants? Thank you for that question. That's a great question. Personally, I have not taken IMA's blockchain one-on-one course. I have taken other blockchain courses, and they're extremely interesting. And the IMA, the quality of their courses are really high. So if you have not taken it, I would recommend taking it, even though I haven't, but I know that I can speak for the quality of the products that the IMA releases. So if you haven't yet, I recommend that you do it. I'll probably do it myself as well, just to see what they've covered and if it is similar to what other courses that I've taken. I think for management accountants, CMAs, we need to understand blockchain. And I know that it's just not me who thinks that. I know the IMA believes that because they have obviously released a course on the topic, and they have covered this topic before as well in the magazines and other releases that they have done. So I know that, for example, in China, I think last month they released their first, I guess, in quotes, central banking using blockchain, right? So it's a huge move towards that technology, and I do believe that the world is moving in that direction. So as management accountants, it's important for us to understand. You don't have to know the nitty-gritty of it, but having an understanding of what it is, what it does, I think that will help you in your career. And I think as it becomes more prevalent, then I believe that this topic will be added to accounting courses in colleges and universities. And I do believe that someday, and I hope someday, this is just me, okay? I'm not speaking for the IMA, but I do hope that someday blockchain will be a topic in the CMA exam. That's how strongly I believe that management accountants should know about this topic. So I don't know, like, to go back to your question, I haven't taken the IMA's blockchain course, but if you have never taken any blockchain course in general, please take that one because I know it's going to be really good. Ziad is asking, but you are still accepting the exam booking. I think you referred to the IMA if they're still accepting exam registrations, even though the Prometric centers are closed. And the answer is yes. They are accepting exam registrations. You can go ahead and even book your exam with Prometric. And I think that's a good idea. And I think that's actually a proactive way to get your exam registered. That way you have your exam seat, you have an exam date. So in the event that the Prometric centers are able to open up again, whether in phase 1, 2, or 3 of the reopening of the economies, then you can go and take your exam. I understand that right now, at least in the United States, many states are opening up their economies very slowly, and I believe they are working at 25% capacity. So if you go to a restaurant, if you go to retail store, they only allow 25% capacity to be within that environment. So, and I would imagine that testing centers will follow suit. So instead of having 100 test takers at the same time in one big room, they're going to have only 25 spread out, social distancing. So I do believe that Prometric will find a way to open up again in the near future, but obviously they won't be able to accommodate large numbers of test takers. And I think that's why the exam dates are filling up fast, because they know they cannot accommodate large number of people. So if you want to secure your exam date for this exam window or the last exam window of the year, I would suggest to go ahead and start looking into that and possibly booking your exam. Remember that if for any reason related to the pandemic, you are not able to go to a testing center to take your exam, the IMA will allow you to rebook it at no cost. Okay? Now, thinking about worst case scenario, if for whatever reason, due to the lockdown or whatnot, Prometric centers are closed all the way through October 31st, which is worst case scenario, okay? I'm not saying that's going to happen, just as a worst case scenario. If that's going to happen, I am confident that the IMA will allow everybody to postpone their exam to the January, February 2021 exam window at no cost. Okay, so don't worry if about thinking that you might have to pay extra fees to rebook. It won't happen. The IMA has set the precedent that they will allow people to rebook at no cost. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. And if for any of you who were nervous about paying and maybe losing that money, you won't. It will just be postponed. All right, we got a lot of questions today. Thanks to all of you for being here with me today. I was really looking forward to this live Q&A. It's one of the things that I really, really enjoy. And I'm glad that I get to interact with you guys and provide guidance and just get to know you. I know that, there are thousands of candidates all over the world, and it's my pleasure to get to know you and help you through this process. Okay, so let me take a sip of my coffee. What are you guys drinking? Let me know in the comments. All right. Next question. Imran is asking, is it possible, can we take CMA exam online? Okay, so you must have just joined the call, Imran. The answer is no. We cannot take the CMA exam online. We can only take it on site at Prometric centers. I know that so many people would prefer to just take it online, right? That way, they wouldn't have to postpone their exam dates, but at this time, only on site. Okay? Fazal is saying, love you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love you too. The CMA community, it's such an amazing community of professionals. And I think that's why, it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping you guys earn your designation. The designation itself is not the end goal, right? The designation is just a stepping stone into a brighter future. And that's what I'm passionate about. I want you guys to reach for that brighter future, get all the benefits from being a CMA, but the CMA is the first step and probably a critical step to get there, right? So, but everybody that I've come across who's a CMA or pursuing the CMA have just been good humans, really good humans. And that's why I think I'm so happy to be supporting this community. All right, let's see. Ziad is asking me another question, but you're saying it was not mentioned, no exam. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. If you could please clarify. Hey, Abbas Saeed says, hello, Nathan. How are you? Nice to see you live. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining me, hanging out with me today. I'm doing well, thank you. In the lockdown, just in my apartment, just hustling and working hard. I hope that you are doing well also. And again, thank you for taking the time today to hang out with me. Ziad is saying, I have just scheduled my exam for July 13th. Awesome, that's great. I really hope the testing centers are open before then so that you can take your exam. And you know what, guys? A very exciting thing about booking your exam, besides being a little nerve-wracking, because now you have an actual deadline, is the fact that it's a deadline, I think. The fact that you have now a target to aim for. Because when you're studying for the exam and you don't have an end in sight, it can seem like a very long process. Remember that you got to study for at least 4 months per part to prepare and pass the exam. But that's if you're studying part-time. If you're studying full-time, then probably you can knock it out within 2 months or 3 months tops, right? But if you're studying part-time like most people, because we all work full-time, then 4 months is the sweet spot. But if you are self-studying, sometimes, like I said, it can feel like it's never ending. But when you book your exam, then you have a deadline. And human beings, we operate and we respond really well to deadlines. Remember when probably the CFO of your company needed that cash flow statement by 4 p.m. today, and it was 2 p.m., and you were like, I'm never going to finish it, but you get to work and somehow you get it done. Has that ever happened to you? It has happened to me many times where I was supposed to meet a deadline with very little time, but somehow I focused and I was able to finish it. Sometimes I will surprise myself. So that goes to show that deadlines do work. So when you book your exam date, that's your deadline. So now whatever time from the date that you booked it to your actual exam date, whatever time you have left, you will finish your studies. You won't procrastinate anymore, right? You're not gonna get too distracted because now you know you have a limited number of days to prepare and pass your exam. So kudos to you, Ziad, for booking your exam for July 13th. I'm very proud of you. All right, guys, this is so fun. Are you guys having fun? I hope you guys are having fun. I'm having a blast. Diva is asking me, hi Diva. So I think I answered your question about essay questions on Microsoft Word. If you have essay questions on Word, then yes, use that, but don't print it. Type it on the computer. Get used to answering essay questions on a computer because in your exam, that's what you will do. That's what you will do. So if you get used to just handwriting everything and then go to the exam, there's going to be a learning curve for you. And we don't want a learning curve during your exam because every minute counts. Okay, so if you have them on Word, that's totally fine. I prefer if you guys have an online test bank though, because an online test bank has different features that will help you prepare better. For example, they have real exam simulations. They have timed exams to help you on your speed. They have a variety of questions, like thousands of MCQs, hundreds or however many essays. So you're definitely in good hands if you get yourself an online test bank. If you need one, I've got one, but there are many out in the market. You're welcome to check it out and buy the one that best suits you. Let's see. Let's go real quick to Instagram. Make sure that I'm answering people on Instagram as well. For all of you on Instagram, thank you for joining. It's great to have you guys here. Let me see. Sudhira, yes, thanks for your question. Her question is the exam date extended on Prometric's test centers? Yes, they will be extended. Well, the exam windows have been extended. The Prometric centers have not opened up yet for the CMA exam. I'm hoping that they will soon, but I will definitely let you guys know as soon as they announce it. But if you have already booked your exam with them, I have no doubt in my mind that they will email you directly and say, hey, testing centers are opening up for the CMA exam on X date. Okay, so if you have already registered, I know you will get an email from them. But if you have not registered with them yet, don't worry. As soon as I hear about it, I will let everybody know. Mubin is asking a really good question, is how does the IMA rank essay questions? It's really tough to go through it. Okay, so I want to clarify a couple of things here. The IMA has no bearing on the questions in the CMA exam. And that might be a shocker for most people. The IMA doesn't know the questions you are going to be tested on. That's the responsibility of the ICMA. The ICMA is responsible for the production and the creation of the questions that you will be tested on the exam. Nobody else knows. Not the IMA, not Wiley, nobody else. Only the ICMA is responsible and knows the content of the exam. So I wanted to clarify that first. The IMA has no idea what the questions are. They have a different governing body that handles the actual exam content. Okay? Now, how are they rated? Hard to tell. I actually don't know. I don't have the answer to that question, and I think it's a great question. I know that there are levels of difficulty when it comes to MCQs and essays, but the actual rating system they use for it, I'm not sure, and I don't think anyone knows. Like I said, only the ICMA knows that. But that's a great question. Thank you. Haji, hi Haji on Instagram. She's saying, I need more challenging questions, not an easy level. Yes, challenging questions are key to preparing for the exam. If you have an online test bank, go through it. If you do not have an online test bank, just go to cmaexamacademy.com. Check out the test banks that we have there. We use retired exam questions from past exams. And also we have written our own questions, which are pretty tough. Our students have a really high pass rate, above 90%. So that speaks to the level of complexity and challenge that the questions we have created are. Okay, so let's see. Ambrish on Instagram is saying, "Hi Nathan, I got confirmation about the CMA books. That is great to hear. If you guys were not aware, I was giving away my CMA textbooks in paperback throughout the month of April. I was doing this because I wanted to help my fellow accountants study for the exam. Right now, with everything that's happening in the world, spending a lot on a review course can be challenging for many. And I didn't want that to be a roadblock or a reason to stop professional development. I didn't want that to be a reason for my fellow accountants to get stuck and not know what to do. And during this time, I think it's important to work towards something. Staying at home, watching Netflix all day long, or just reading the news all day long, it's important to be informed, but at the same time, I think as humans, we desire to progress. We desire to get better in different aspects of our lives. So if there was something I could do to help you, my fellow accountants and finance professionals, continue on your trajectory to become better tomorrow than you were today, then that's what I wanted to do. And the way I've done that is by giving my textbooks away for free. So I'm very happy that you got notification of the textbooks, that you got them. I've been getting hundreds and hundreds of emails from people telling me that they've been happy with the textbook. So I'm super happy to hear that. I'm thinking that because people have been studying for the exam with these textbooks, that I might extend this free textbook giveaway all the way through the month of May. I don't know what the economy is going to be like in May, but I think I do want to help everyone out there. So I might extend this promotion or giveaway throughout the month of May. All right. So Shahi is asking another question. Just July exam window can change to September window without cost. Oh, so what she's asking is, if I booked my exam for the May through July exam window, can I change my exam to the August-October exam window at no cost? The answer is yes, but it's yes if the testing centers are not, if the testing centers don't open through July 31st. If the testing centers open, then yes, you should go and take your exam. But if they don't open, then you can rebook your exam to the August-October exam window at no cost. The IMA will not charge you anything for it, which I think is fantastic. Okay, that covers all the questions on Instagram. Let's go back to let's go to Twitter. Nick is here. I hope you're still here, Nick. We're hanging out. We are 30 minutes into the call, everybody. So I'll be here for another 30 minutes and then we'll be wrapping it up. But I'm super happy to, see all these questions. This is great. And if you guys want me to assist you in any other way, please let me know in the comments. I honestly want to be there for you in the way that will be the most helpful, or that I can be the most helpful to you. So just let me know, okay? But I've gotten feedback that these live Q&As are definitely helping out. Okay, all right, Nick. So Nick is saying, hey, Nathan, let's put it on the screen. Hey, Nathan, when studying, I am getting frustrated with how long answer keyed are questions. I feel like, his second part of his question, I feel like it takes a lot of time to review one question, and that's just one topic question. Nick, great questions. Thank you. And I think that I know that most candidates feel the same way you do. I know that when you are presented with a long form question, that it seems impossible to be able to answer it fast, because we know that in the actual exam, you have 4 hours to go through all of it. You got 3 hours to go through 100 MCQs. That's 1.8 minutes per question. That seems too fast, especially when you're working through long form questions. The only thing I can tell you, Nick, is that even though it may seem impossible, and this is for everybody else who feels like Nick as well, it may seem impossible that you won't be able to finish it quickly, but you will. And the way to get there is to practice. And students in my program, I don't focus too much on speed when they are studying the program, because I want them to focus on learning the material first. Learning the material is the most important block, I guess, is the most important step in this entire journey. So if you are still learning the material, Nick, don't worry about speed. What I want you to focus on is focus on learning it really well. Take your practice exams. Don't worry about how long it takes you, but focus on getting a high score. Get anything above 80% on your practice exams. Once you hit that and you're hitting it consistently, then go back and start focusing on speed. If it took you 4 hours to answer 50 MCQs, but you got a really high score, I think that's a win. I think that's great. And then if you do it again, and it takes you, again, 4 hours to answer only 50 MCQs, and you got a high score, I think then you are in good shape to start working on your speed. And the way to work on it is to actually look at how long it took you. So in my example, I'm not saying that this is how long it took you, but just as an example, if it took you 4 hours, try the next time around to do it in 3.5. And then try again to do it in 3, right? 50 MCQs, you should be able to answer 50 in 1.5 hours. Because in your actual exam, you have 100 MCQs and you have 3 hours to answer all 100. So if you cut it in half, you should be able to answer, theoretically, 50 MCQs within 1.5 hours. So if you're practicing with 50 MCQs, then your goal is to get to completing all 50 within 1.5 hours. And then just work on it. It's going to be frustrating. I know that because that's how I felt. Sometimes when I was testing myself to get faster and faster, I was feeling a little of anxiety also, because I knew the clock was ticking and I was not moving fast enough. But that's the type of pressure that you need to get better at it, right? So my suggestion in short is to continue practicing. If you're still in the learning process, do not worry about speed. Just focus on getting your answers right. Just focus on getting a high score. That's it. Speed will come, but and you focus on that towards the end of your program, not during. During the program, just focus on getting your answers right and learning the material really well. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Nick, but obviously you're welcome to drop me another comment below as a follow-up if you need it. Let's see. Hey, Shreth. Hey, Shreth, how's it going? He just said hi, Nathan, so hi, Shreth. It's nice to see you online as well. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me today. I appreciate it. Thank you. Imran is saying, is it possible to take the CMA exam online? No, Imran. As I mentioned earlier, probably you joined the call much later, which is totally fine. The point of this call was to address that question, so thank you for your question. The answer is no. At this time, we can only take it on site, not online. Ziad is saying, I registered through the IMA for my exam. Perfect. You're in Qatar. Whoa, Qatar. Well, thank you for joining from Qatar. That's one of the countries that is on my list. I love traveling, and Qatar is on my list for sure. It looks amazing, so I want to check it out. But thank you for joining from Qatar. Sandesh is asking how to study the professional ethics section of Part 2, because professional ethics is in the Part 2 exam, right? How to study for it? Read it, apply SQ3R. SQ3R is a study technique, and if you guys have not seen my video on that, after this live Q&A is over, I invite you to go to my YouTube channel and look for the best study technique for the CMA exam. This technique I did not create it. It was created, I think, in the 70s, and it's proven that students or people who use it to study for the exam will retain at least 80%. This is at least, so, which means you can retain even more. You can go to 90%, right? But at least you will retain 80% of what you study. Isn't that amazing? Obviously, it takes a little time to learn it. It takes a little time to apply it. But with anything else, the more you use it, the faster it gets, the easier it gets, and you'll see how much better your study process goes. So How to study for professional ethics? Sandesh, use that study technique. And this goes for everything in your textbook. Use that technique and you'll see great results. I guarantee it because I personally used that technique throughout my entire study process. If you guys recall, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but I self-studied. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have anybody to ask questions to. And that was super frustrating for me. So what did I do? I had to figure it out on my own. And I was not studying very well. So I needed to find a technique that would help me. I discovered SQ3R and I started applying it. And I was frustrated because it seemed that it was slowing me down. But the more I used it, I saw the benefit from using it more often. And then that became a staple in my study program. And that's the same technique that I encourage all my students to use when they study with me in my academy. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, this is a good one here. Let's put it on the screen. Firecat is asking, do you recommend taking both exam parts in one testing window? Whew, that's a great question, Firecat. Thanks for asking. And I say it's a great question because obviously I think everybody wonders that. I even wonder that. Could I take both parts in one exam window and be done with it? So I discovered from personal experience, also because I was working full-time at the time, I was like, okay, if I study for one part, let me see how fast I can study for it. If I finish it relatively quickly, then I'll jump on the other part and take that one and study that one too, so I can take both parts in one window. What I discovered was that because I was working full-time, there was no way I would be able to study both parts. It took me about 25 hours, almost sometimes 30 hours a week to study for one part. So that's a part-time, almost a full-time job right there, right? So with my full-time job and then just studying at night and weekends, I didn't have time for anything. So to add another part to that, it was just impossible for me. Now, I have had people who have reached out to me. I've even interviewed someone from Europe who she studied for both parts and passed both parts in the same exam window. But the difference is that she was not working and she was studying full time. So Firecat, to answer your question, if you can study full time, then yes, it's possible to take both exams in the same exam window. But that's if you can study full time. If you work full time, my recommendation at the end of the day is your decision. And if that's your decision, I'll support you. But my suggestion, I strongly recommend that each candidate prepare for one part at a time if you're working full time, okay? Your chances of passing will be so much higher. And not only to pass, but you also want to remember what you're learning, right? Because this is the stuff that you will use in your day-to-day job. So the point is, there's no point in just passing the exam and forgetting everything. Then when you go on the job and you have to apply your skills and knowledge, it's going to look like you never studied for the exam. So study for this to pass the exam, but with the goal to just know this material really well, because it will help you in your career. All right, so let's see here. Let me go back to Instagram real quick. So Mahesh here is asking me on Instagram, how many questions will be tough and how many easy or medium? I wish I knew that. And honestly, I think every candidate wishes they knew that, because we don't know the level of difficulty that you will get in your exam. And I think that, and I think everybody's thought of it, Mahesh, but the thing is, it's best just to learn the material with the expectation that all your questions are going to be tough. Because I think, I don't know with you, but with me, if I try to believe that my questions are going to be easy on my exam, or if I'm counting on that, the way I studied today, it's not going to reflect a good outcome, because I'm going to go easy on myself. Do you know what I mean? If I'm trusting that my questions are going to be easy and I'm studying today, then I'm not going to study as hard, because I'm trusting in whatever that my questions are going to be easy. So, and I think you're almost shooting yourself on the foot if you have that mindset. My recommendation, man, is to just have the understanding that your questions are going to be very tough and study accordingly. Because best case, they're easy, and probably they might seem easy because you started very hard, right? And two, you will know the material really well because you've studied for that level, okay? So we don't know the level of difficulty. No one knows, not the IMA, not Wiley, not me, but only the ICMA. Only they know the content of the exam, how difficult it is and whatnot. And they won't tell anybody, which is fine. That's the way it should be. So my recommendation to you is study as if every single question on your exam is going to be tough. And that will set you up for success. Great question, though. Thank you. Good evening, Salma. Thank you for joining the call. Let's see. All right, let's go back to other platforms here. All right. Sounds good, Saeed. He says, good times will come soon. Good times will absolutely come soon. I agree. I love your positivity. I appreciate that. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Ziad, that you got your, okay, so Ziad has posted, I would recommend that you delete your comment because you have posted your authorization number to book your exam. That authorization number is just for you, just yours. So I will keep it private, and this goes for everybody else. If you have your authorization number, it's not something I would share with anyone. Not that anyone would do anything with it, but I think it's privacy. So I would recommend Ziad to remove that comment just for your own benefit. It's up to you, but that's what I would recommend. Let's see. Subesh is asking, how can we understand the concepts of the topic easy? There's no easy way, my friend, to understand the concepts easy. The concepts are pretty advanced when it comes to management accounting. They are tough. And I think that also shows why the pass rate, the average industry pass rate is 35%, 40% globally is really low. This exam is not easy. But what I can say to you, Subish, is that if you apply SQ3R, and I'm going to drum on this every day, all day long, because I know it works. If you apply SQ3R, so like I said, after this video, go to my YouTube channel, look up best study technique for the CMA exam and apply that technique, or you can even just Google it, SQ3R, and you will have a ton of articles that will show you how to apply it. That's the technique that I would recommend you use. Will it make it easy? Not necessarily, but it will make it efficient. It will make your study process very efficient and very effective. So that's what I would recommend you do. There are no shortcuts to learning this material. There are no ways to make it easy, but there are ways that you can make it more effective, more efficient. And SQ3R is a great way to do that. And again, guys, that's the technique that I've used that has worked for me great. That's how I was able to pass part 1 and part 2 on my first try. Now, my students, I've asked them to apply the same technique. Many are, and some aren't, because it probably just didn't work for them. This is not a one-size-fits-all thing. But I think that if you at least start with that and test it yourself, if you don't have a study technique in place, that's a good starting point. If you discover other study technique that's worked out better for you, that's awesome. I would love to know. Just share it with me. That way I can also help spread the word. Okay? Let's see. We have a question. Shahid. Hi, Shahid. So the July exam can change to September window without cost. Yes. But like I said, Shahid, earlier, there's no cost to postpone your exam from the May-July exam window to the August-October exam window, but only if the Prometric centers are closed all the way through July. If they open, then the expectation is that you will go and take your exam, okay? If you decide not to go, but they are open, I am not sure at that point what's going to happen. I would probably ask you to reach out to the IMA and explain your reasons as to why you cannot go and take your exam in July, even though the testing centers are open in that, in my example. But I will reach out to them. But if they don't open and you have booked your exam for July, then you will be able to rebook it to the last exam window at no cost. Okay. Let's check. So many questions, guys. This is fantastic. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to be here for another 15 minutes and then I got to go. But I'm seeing a lot of questions that I don't know if I'll be able to get to. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. Tomorrow, Saturday, at this time, at 12 p.m. Pacific, I'll do another live with everybody. So please come back and then I'll stay for 2 hours or however long just to make sure that I answer every single question, okay? So if I don't get to your question today, please come back tomorrow. I'll stay longer because it's a Saturday. I'll stay longer with you and we'll hang out. I'll have my coffee. You bring your coffee, your tea, wine, whatever you want, and then we'll just hang out and I'll be answering all your questions, okay? Okay, so let's check it out. We have a question from Jacob. Hey, Jacob. So he's saying that he didn't pass his Part 1 exam and he didn't pass the MCQ section of his Part 1 exam. So that means that he didn't score 50% in the MCQ. But he got his results back and his score was 250. So he's wondering why I didn't move to the essay section of the exam if 250 is 50% of 500 points, which is the total of the exam. That's a great question, and I've been getting this a lot in the past couple of weeks. And the reason why is because the testing is using a scaling scoring system. It's not just like 500 points. You need to score 250 to get to the essay section. It doesn't work that way. You have to get 50 MCQs right. Is a combination of your essay score and your MCQ score through a scaling scoring system that comes up with your final score. Okay, so it's not just like point by point like you are asking. And I can see why the confusion is there. Sometimes I get confused by it, but they use a different type of scoring system that is not so black and white. So that's why you didn't make it to the MCQ section. But if you have questions about your score, if you need more information about it, reach out to the IMA and maybe they can grab more information for you from the ICMA to kind of explain it better. But I know that it's not so like, yeah, it's not like point by point. That's the best I can explain it. Let's see. Okay, so Blue is asking this question. So my first language is Arabic. So I have English problems with understanding. What is your advice for a beginner? Okay, so if you have, if English is not your first language, or I shouldn't say that. If you're not fluent in English, there you go. If you're not fluent in English and you're having a hard time understanding the content matter, the subject matter of the CMA exam, my recommendation is to go and take an a business English class. That's what I would do. Not just any English class, but a business English class. You can find them online. I would recommend doing that first before attempting the exam, just because I think the content is very tough as it is, and to add a major language barrier to it is going to be a very challenging thing. So if it's hard for you to understand English because your second language, please take a business English language course. And once you're done with that, come back to the CMA and see if things are a little easier in that sense for you. But trying to attempt for the CMA exam without really understanding English, I think is going to frustrate you more than anything else. So let's just take a step back. Let's get better with our English and then proceed with your CMA next. Okay? It's going to be a longer process, but it will pay off for you in the long term. Here's another question from Mustafa. Mustafa says, "Hi Nathan, thank you for your live. You're very welcome. I'm glad to be here." He booked his exam for July, but he can't study because of COVID-19. Oh, because he can't travel due to COVID-19. He's in Sudan, but he needs to travel to get to the testing center. Should I keep studying or wait? All right, Mustafa, I think that's a great question. And I do believe that many people are in your situation, in your shoes also, that they need to travel to take the exam, but they can't because, of travel restrictions or whatnot. So the question they have, just like you have, is should I keep studying or should I just hold off on this? My suggestion is, why not keep studying? Because the lockdown will end. The thing is, we do not know when, but it will end. I think it's better to be prepared and ready than be caught off guard and say, oh, shoot, I can travel next week, but I didn't study for the exam. So then you would have wasted all this time, right? So my suggestion is, why not be prepared? And even if you finish your preparation and you still cannot travel, then just review the material. Nothing wrong with that, right? Review the material, get better at it. And even then, if you still cannot travel, then go ahead and study for the other part. No harm, no foul. Get familiar with it, start studying, and then maybe you'll be able to take both exams with one travel. You can travel out of Sudan to another country or wherever you need to go to take the exam, and you might be able to take both exams. Wouldn't that be awesome? So my suggestion is, it's better to be prepared than to be caught off guard. So the choice is yours, but if I was in your shoes, I would keep studying. I hope that answers your question. Thank you for tuning in from Sudan. That's awesome. We got Qatar, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, the US, all over the world. This is awesome, guys. The beauty of the internet. So Saeed is asking, after the CMA, what would you personally suggest? The Certified Financial Analyst certification or the Certified Public Accountant license? Would love to hear from you. Okay, all right, Abbas, Saeed, that's a great question. I think it comes down to what is it that you want to do? Where do you see your career going? What kind of work do you want to do? I think that if you want to do auditing, taxation, definitely go for the CPA. If that's something that you want to do, even if it's just interesting to you, you want to be more well-versed in those topics, go for it. CFA, if that type of line of work is where you want to go towards, then the CFA makes more sense. I think that people like to collect certifications for their resume. It looks good. They put it at the end of their last name. On LinkedIn, looks awesome. But that won't matter if that type of work is not meaningful to you. If you, for example, this is an example, I'm not saying this is you, but if you were to really dislike taxes, like me, I don't like taxes. I don't want to learn about taxes. I'm just not interested. So if I don't like it at all, and then I think, but having the CPA would be good for me, right? Good to have, but it's not something that I want to do for a living, then there's a disconnect. Then I would probably not enjoy the study process. Maybe I'll fail the exam because it's not something I'm interested in doing, right? So I would suggest to align your interests with the certifications that you want to go for. If taxation, auditing, and all compliance, all that looks interesting to you, then go for the CPA. Yeah, no doubt about it. If it doesn't, then think about what kind of career you want to have, what kind of jobs you want to have, and then look for certifications that will help you get those jobs, that will help you perform better at those jobs. So that's my recommendation when it comes to certifications. Another question I get asked a lot is, should I go for the MBA? Should I get an MBA? I'm like, okay, you can get an MBA. $100,000 to get an MBA, or maybe $60,000, depends where you go. It's a lot of money, right? And right now an MBA, it's one of those things that if you don't plan to work in the stock market or in banking, if you plan to stay in accounting, an MBA is not necessary. It really isn't. And that's my personal opinion. MBAs are not necessary at all. Like I said, if you go to banking investments, sure. Everybody has an MBA, so I think everybody should get an MBA if you plan to work in that industry. But if you plan to work in private accounting, I don't think you need an MBA. It's better if you spend your money and time on a certification like the CMA or a license like the CPA, right? Depending which line of work you want to do. But that's that's my long answer. So in short, align your career aspirations, the type of jobs you want to have, the type of companies you want to work for, and then look for certifications that will help you get there. All right, let's see. Let's go to Instagram real quick. Let's see, what else do we have? Will from Instagram saying, hi, Nathan. Shout out from Abu Dhabi. Hey, hello, Abu Dhabi. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Will. He says, I'm excited to receive your textbooks. I'm so motivated to take the CMA exam this year. I love to hear that. That's what I love to hear. That's great. The textbooks are on the way. And once you get them, please start studying. They're written in plain English, no jargon, super easy to understand, straight to the point. That's how I wanted my textbooks to be, and that's how they are. So I know that you will get a lot from them. So congratulations on claiming your free copies. I'm so happy you got them. Well, they're on the way, but you'll get them. And let me know what you think. Take a picture of yourself holding the textbooks. Tag me on Instagram. And I just want to see your face with the textbooks, man. It will make me so happy. All right, fantastic. All right, so let's go back here. Let's see. Mac is asking a great question. Mac, thank you for your question. Mac Will says, hi, Nathan. Is it true that only when you pass the multiple choice exam part, then you can proceed to answering the essay question? So to get to the essay section of the exam, yes, you need to pass the MCQ section, and to pass that section, you have to get 50% of the questions, or 50% correct. Now, this is a little secret that not many people know, but I'm going to share it with you today, okay? Are you ready? This is pretty cool. It blew my mind when I learned about this. I didn't know this was a thing. I learned about this a couple years ago, but when I was studying for the exam, I didn't know. It won't change, it should not change how you study. It should not change your strategy, but it's just good to know, okay? So out of the 100 MCQs, only 90 of them are scored. 10 of them, those 10 are not scored because the ICMA is just testing questions. So they won't grade you on it because it wouldn't be fair, because they're just testing to see how people respond to those new questions. So 10 of them are just probe questions, right? They're just testing it out. So you will not get scored on it. So you're really getting scored on 90 questions, not 100. That's pretty sweet, right? So to pass the MCQ section of the exam, you have to get 45 MCQs correct, not 50. You need to get 45. Like I said, this should not change your strategy as to how you study. It should not change your mindset as to trying to guess which ones are the ones that are not graded. That will not work in your favor. Like I said, this is just a nice to know. It's a little secret, right? It's nice to know, but it should not affect how you perform. We don't know which ones are those questions, the 10 ungraded questions. We don't know that. It could be any. So it's in your benefit to go through all 100 and do your best. But what I'll say is, if you find a question that is completely off of everything you've studied, or it looks like it, it seems something completely like foreign to you, don't feel bad because you didn't study that particular topic for that question or whatever the question is asking. People get harder. People tend to be hard on themselves sometimes. So I'm saying is don't be, because remember, some of these questions are not graded, 10 of them. So that could be one of them. All right. So just know that if you encounter a question that is completely out of the blue, don't get frustrated. Just move on and come back to it. Answer to the best of your ability, and that's all you can do. Okay. But yeah, so to get to the essay section, you need to score 45 MCQs, Mac. So I hope that answered your question. Let's see. So Shamil is asking, are CMA credits taken for the CPA as NASBA credits? Great question. Great question. Actually, I'm not sure, but I will make a note of it and I will find out. I want to say that maybe, but I'll find out for you and I will mention it in the next live. Okay. Hi, Nathan. Nice to join you live. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. This has been great. Nick is saying Monster Energy. Oh, man. Yeah, all right. Monster Energy for you and coffee for me. And then we'll just hang out. Sound good? Oh, 12:47 a.m. in India right now. Wow. Thank you for tuning in so late. I appreciate it. You're awesome. All right, guys. Well, it's up in the hour now. I've gone only through half of the questions, and I want to say that I'm so happy to have spent this hour with you, and I hope that you guys have a fantastic Friday. I will be back tomorrow, just because there are so many questions that I just couldn't get to. So come back tomorrow. I'll go live at 12 p.m. Pacific, just like today, and it's Saturday, so let's hang out. We can talk about CMA. We can talk about your favorite shows. We can talk about anything. Let's just hang out. Okay, so thanks again for spending this hour with me. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic Friday and a really awesome Saturday. Bye.